Well, we spoke about the Samsung's foldable phone releases and et cetera, et cetera. But I actually think Google, with its pre-announcement of the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro, brand new design using ultra high-end materials, going for that high end of the market that I guess the Pro iPhones sort of sit in, the top tier Samsung phones, etc. What I thought was most interesting, I mean, I kind of found the design interesting. I thought at least they tried something different with the camera array on the back by making it a full bar, and it'll actually rest on a table properly now, it would seem, compared to the camera bumps on other phones. But the most interesting aspect, I think, of these phones is this custom silicon they're putting in, the tensor chip that they're calling it. I guess Apple made headway with its M-class chips for the laptops, and obviously they've been building all their own chips for their phones and tablets for many years now, over a decade. And it's interesting that Google's taking this approach to I guess maybe just I'll stop there and take a step back. I'm not quite exactly sure what they've been trying to do with the Pixel range in total. I mean, I like the idea of a pure Google phone that has the pure Android experience. So in theory, you're getting the most essential version of Android, etc. So for people that are into that and like that, they get that experience. But if you go from model to model, as they've released them, they seem to be all over the place in terms of vision execution. It's all well and good that, they've got the best camera, but then like the rest of the experience doesn't work as well or whatever. And it just, I mean, this might be different. They might, knock this out of the park, but it's just another single generation of phone that is taking a very different approach to the design, etc. Is it going to last another year? Are they just going to reverse course with the Google Pixel 7? And then they released the 5A, which was almost literally the same as the 4A, save for a slightly bigger screen and a battery. It's got all the same specs inside, and I just don't exactly know what they're doing other than trying stuff out. And maybe they're in the position to do that because that's not their core business.
Well, I'll tell you what their core business isn't, Ben, and this is the reason I'm laughing, and it's producing stuff that works like they imagined it would. Google are very good at bringing technology together, but very poor in their execution. And I still maintain that the only two things that I think that Google does that are any good are the search engine and Chromecast. I think every other device Google has produced, even the Google environment, work environment online, it's, a good idea, it's accessible, it's, functional to a degree, but it just doesn't ever seem to execute the way that you would hope that it would execute. And I've had friends with Pixel phones before. Their longevity hasn't been fantastic. And I can imagine now Google, going to premium quality components and putting together another nice phone and, the ultimate Android experience, which, would have to be better than any other Android experience that I've ever come across because it ain't great. And I can well imagine exactly like you say that it'll have a great camera, but will it work perfectly as part of the system? And I think that's always been Google's biggest challenge. So very happy if they prove me wrong. At least that would give another phone, to go to. I've been with Android now for almost 6 years, but I still think Google have a lot to prove, beyond the idea. And their ideas are very good, but their execution's appalling.
I guess the other thing I wanted to throw in here is that this model to me seems like a bit of a risk on Google's part because they're going for the high end. It's the high cost model. It's not cheap, and it's not everyone's going to have the kind of money to splurge on this type of model. Whereas in the past, any deficiencies that the phones might have had were offset by the fact that they were more mid range and more mid-tier priced. So if you wouldn't be so upset if it didn't last past 2 years or something because it wasn't the most expensive phone out there. Whereas if, you spend the kind of money as like, me spending the kind of money I do on Pro Max phones for iPhones, I expect them to last for more than 5 years, for instance. So that's the thing I think is a little bit different this time around, that this might be a bit of a risk for them if it flops.
Oh, look, I completely agree with you. I mean, the risk, Google's had plenty of flops. Financially, it's not a risk to them. I don't even think reputationally it's a risk to them because nobody really rates them. I just, kind of always disappointed that Google doesn't produce better products at the end of the day. And this, this might be a bit cruel, but this really just smacks of them, seeing the margins that Apple and Samsung are making from phones and thinking they can get a bit of the action as well without really delivering a product that's materially better once it's in your hand. I would have thought that, Google should just, make a good mid-range phone and, maybe with premium components and bang an extra couple of $100 on, but maybe not an extra 500 or 600. Not until they prove themselves anyway.